Question for you. Do you feel like you're in charge of your life or your life is in charge of you? Interesting to think about it from that framework. Oftentimes we do feel like we're in charge of our life, and yet we're reactive to the experiences that are going on in the world around us. They can hijack us out of our sense of emotional balance. They can drive or shift our feelings of being able to engage or be motivated, or even our felt sense of agency. Do we feel like we can make change in our life? So, when our life is in charge of us, we are living in a state of reactivity rather than proactive responsiveness. It can be subtle, but it can have a really big impact on our overarching sense of self and our belief in our capacity and what we can handle and conquer. When we feel like we are in charge of our life, we are operating from a state of what's called internal locus of control. An internal locus of control is this I've got this type of energy. It's a grittiness, it's resilience, it's this deep inner knowing that we can make change in our world. And even if we might be in a stuck, dark space, we know that we can pick up the phone and call somebody and get help. We can figure it out. But when our world is in charge of us, when our life is defining how we're showing up, we have what's known as an external locus of control. This can feel like we're always climbing uphill, as though the world is pushing down on us, as though we're a little bit out of control. And so we're having to hyper control or be vigilant for that next thing that's going to fall out of the sky and clobber us. It feels awful to live that way. I've been there. It's miserable. And so how do we go from an external locus of control, if you're there, to an internal locus of control? It's a critical question, right? Because that I've got this energy is huge and it feels great when we're there. And I want to circle back to something I just said. It doesn't mean that we're conquering alone in isolation. It means that we know we have a community around us, a connection to the greater world, that things will show up and help us. It is possible to go from external locus of control to an inner locus of control, but the way there might be a little counterintuitive. You see, when we're operating from an external locus of control, it's because our brain and our body are working double, triple, quadruple overtime to keep us safe. An external locus of control is a reactionary space where our brain is constantly on the lookout for some sort of threat or danger that we need to react to. And so all that negative energy, all that threat stimuli is getting prioritized. Our brain is actually hardwired to have a negativity bias, to look for the threatening things. It's what's kept our species alive for a really long time. But if we don't transition through that into a state of internal locus of control or agency, then our resources can become depleted. We burn out, we get depressed, we have anxiety, all that yuck, not so good stuff. So the first step in moving through external locus of control, that feeling of, the world is falling down on top of me or even control of me, is to recognize that this is a way our brain is taking care of us. It's a loving action from, you guessed it, Amy, our little amygdala, and all of her friends showing up and saying, we'll keep you safe by being vigilant and reactive. And so turning inward with self-compassion, being mindful to find little positive gratitude moments in your day-to-day life, and to start being in very intentional relationship with yourself is the first step through that the world is happening to me experience and into a new way of being, of agency, resilience, and I've got this space, which feels pretty awesome. So in the next several videos, we're going to start unpacking this. We're going to take that idea of neuroplasticity and start learning some hacks for how do we deepen our connection with self so that we know, hey, pat on the back, we're good, we've got this. And we can take the steps we need in any moment to not just survive, but to thrive.